Okay, so for this video I'm going to do something a little bit different, which is I'm actually going to comment on one of Chris's games. This is a game that Chris played on Pandanet on a 19x19 board, and we'll see how he gets on. You'll notice that Chris starts the game with 2 stones on the board, and we call these the handicap stones. And one of the brilliant things about Go is that over many hundreds of years these handicap stones have been balanced out, so they are an accurate reflection of the strengths of the 2 players. In this case, Chris is a couple of stones weaker than the opponent. What does this mean? Well, if you imagine I'm currently ranked on this server at 7Q, so if I played a player who was ranked at 9Q, that player would get 2 stones on the board, and then white moves first. If I played someone who was 12Q, that player would get 5 stones on the board. It's the difference between my ranking and their ranking. And it's actually how ranking works in Go. And Go, in common with martial arts, has Q levels, which are the amateur levels, the beginner levels, and when you get to 1Q, the next move is to 1 Dan. Exactly as in Aikido or Karate and Judo, it simply means level. Dan means level, and so a 1 Dan player, particularly a 1 Dan amateur Go player, is a Go player who's reached a certain level of proficiency in the game. Anyway, here we are. So it's Chris starts the game with 2 stones on the board, and white comes on. This is entirely expected. White takes a corner, and then black plays here. Now, certainly in the early stages of the game, and the opening of the game of Go is known as the fuseki. The first 30 or so moves are the opening, a bit like chess openings. There are some standard moves. Chris' move isn't wrong, but it's what we call a floating stone. So that this stone here, the one that he's played, is kind of floating out towards the centre of the board. It's not attached, it's not got a base. If Chris wanted to play in this area, then I would have expected something like this, or possibly here. Something that develops the 4/4 stone and actually starts to enclose an area of territory, so that these points here in the corner start to come under Chris's control. You get the idea. And so those 2 moves are given the point 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 3, 6. You know, they're 20-point moves. This is a 20-point move. And you have to remember that on a 19x19 Go board, there are 361 intersections in total that are up for grabs. In the average game of Go, the players will play something like 220, maybe 240 moves towards the end of the game. And that leaves really about 120 empty intersections to play, and prisoners have an impact as well. But you only need 60 points, more or less, to win a game of Go. And if with 2 stones you've already bagged 20 of those 60 points, you're making a really good start. So that's why I would expect to see, for all you guys, in your opening moves, staying low and developing positions in the corner, like the one that we've just talked about, like here. The other obvious move for black in this is to take the 3rd corner. You know, corners are, the proverb says, corners are golden, sides are silver, the belly is straw. It's really hard to make points in the centre of the board because you've got to surround all 4 points. In the corner, you've got 2 walls, one here and one here, and on the side you've already got a wall in place. It's much easier to make points on the side after the corner, and much more difficult in the centre of the board. So that's the kind of opening that I would expect to see from you guys. Anyway, Chris, oops, let's go back, we jumped a little bit farther ahead. Chris played here. So his opponent comes in, and Chris does a reasonable move of blocking, and then white comes in again. And then actually Chris plays quite a smart move, which is to take that 3rd corner. I like that move. I think it's solid. There are some problems here because that stone and that stone have now been separated by this stone. And the big strategy in Go, the thing I want you to all remember more than anything else, is the aim of Go on a high strategic level is to keep your own stones connected and cut your opponent into small pieces. Small groups of stones are vulnerable to attack, they're weak. Large groups are strong because they've got lots of liberties and lots of eyes, they're strong to fight with. So connected stones are strong, isolated stones are weak. And so all the time we're trying to slice and separate our opponent's stones while keeping ours together. So I like your move, Chris. There are some problems here, but you're making big moves here. White Hanes. A Hane is simply what we call a diagonal move. This stone is already in contact here with the black one, and when you've got a stone in contact and you make a second contact move like this one, it's called a Hane. I don't want to get stuck on this, but in Japanese Go in particular, and in Go around the world, it's a bit like Eskimos and snow. Every single move has a name, and I will use them because as you get used to playing Go, you need to get used to these names because there aren't any names in English. There are no words in English to describe these moves. So white Hanes, so black Hanes, and white pushes, and again I can't fault this move, Chris. You extend, perfect. That extension move by you, Chris, panics white with this stone. White suddenly goes, if I don't do something quick, then black's going to cut this stone off. Black's going to play in this kind of area around maybe 1, 2, 3, somewhere in that area, and cut that white stone off. And as we've just said, white stones are weak. So white draws back and adds another stone to give that stone a bit more strength. These two together have now got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 liberties. Chris cuts. Again, I think the move here is brave, actually. He cuts on that side. White doesn't want to get separated, so white connects, so Chris takes. And white connects. So what's the outcome of that fight? White's got what we call a thick wall. It's thick because it can't be broken. Black cannot get through that wall, and that thick wall is starting to work well with this stone in the corners to start to develop this territory here. Black has got this solid group, this shape here, we call a ponuki, or a flower, because it looks a little bit like the heart of a flower, and it's a super strong shape because if we notice, white can't approach this. If we play a white stone, white can't approach the Panuki in there without immediately getting Atari'd, and the same here and the same here. So that's the first contact encounter of the game. The only problem for Chris is this stone here that's a little bit lost and lonely, but on the positive, these stones are all working together to make a nice shape. And it's Chris's initiative. So Chris plays here. I don't like this move. If you want to play in that area, extend like this, or something like this to connect these two stones here up to these stones and the lower side, so the lower side becomes strong and the points there start to fall into your hands. The problem with the move you played, I think it was this one, is it immediately creates a cutting point, and white takes advantage of that cutting point and cuts through your stone. This wouldn't be terrible for you, and again I would expect to see, Chris, that you sacrifice this stone. You sacrifice this as unimportant, and actually you Atari in this direction. Make white run, you chase, white goes out, and then you play something like this. So you're using this wall here and then supporting that wall with buttresses over here to actually make this a potential territorial area. Fair enough, white gets this one, but you look at this board and goes, whose is bigger? No, it's black. Black is bigger. That's why when you Atari in the other direction, which is what you did in the game, you're actually pushing white into the direction of the territory you want to make. You need to push white the other way. This move isn't a good move, the one at K7, because nothing bad can happen. This move would be much better somewhere like here. And okay, if white plays here, you simply connect. And if white tries to cut, you cut behind. And then these white stones are going nowhere. I mean, they've just got nowhere to go. They're being sucked into this void here. So we try and avoid defending against things that might not happen. And in this case, your move is a defensive move. White cuts through and Ataris the stone. You move again. That doesn't work. You may have Atari'd white here, but meanwhile, white's Atari'd you here. So that's not going to work at all. So white takes you, and then you run away. All of these stones. Notice what's going on in this game. In this fight, white has got one group. They're all connected. All these stones are connected because black can't play in that space there without first surrounding. How many groups has black got? Black's got these two stones. That's one group. Black's got this group, another group. It's a stone on its own. Black's got this group, and black over here has got this group. The fundamental strategy of Go, and I've just said it a few moments ago, is keep your own stones connected and cut your opponent in small pieces. Right now, white has got one group and black has got four, and that's not good for black. So white comes out. Again, black chases. White Ataris. Black Hanes. White comes out because white wants to harass these stones here. Black pincers on that side. White lets you off the hook here. What white should really do here is that one. And then the two stones are dead because this stone here has got two liberties. We can see that. These two stones here have got 1, 2, 3 liberties. You can see that there. These fellas have got 1, 2, 3 liberties. And these two fellas here have got 1, 2, 3 liberties. So all of white stones have got more liberties than the two black stones are here. That have only got one. They're an Atari, which means they're going to die. And there's nothing you can do about it. And the problem for you, Chris, here is you're playing too close to white's strength. When your opponent is strong, you need to back off and give them a bit more space. So don't try and attack closely. You'll get swallowed up. Step back, give them a bit of room and solidify and build your position a bit further back so you don't get sucked into close fighting that you simply can't win. However, in the game, white let you off the hook and played on that side, so you connected. White came out, you pushed. White Atari'd that stone, but you got it out of Atari by playing that stone. White Atari'd you again, and you cut, so white ran away. You descended, which was good, but then white takes and you connect on the edge. White connects. And now came a series of really great moves by you, Chris, because again, if we look at shape, these stones here are making a very good job of capturing this kind of area here. And with your next move here, these moves start to make some territory here. Get rid of that. And white actually plays a move to ensure that these two stones die. But to my reading of the game, they're dead already. They're gone. They're finished. They have no value. And then Chris plays another brilliant move, which is another space move. So these are big territorial moves. This is saying, I like these points here. I like these points here. I like these points here. I like these bigger. And I like all of this. And white, again, plays a very nonsensical move. It said, well, these are two dead. This is a bit like you know, when they killed Rasputin, he was poisoned, then he was stabbed, and then he was shot, and then they threw him in the river and drowned him just to make sure. Well, white has already expended this stone to make sure that these two guys die. Not that they can really live, because white's stones here are connected here and here, but then he spends another stone to make sure they're really dead. He's shot them, he's poisoned them, and he's about to chuck them in the river. So black makes a lovely move. This is an extension, this is an approach move. It's called a Kakari in Japanese, I like that word. Kakari, when you approach a stone in the corner, it's called a Kakari. And so white defends. And again, this is a slightly nonsensical move by Chris. You know, your eyes are in the right direction. Do you need to play a defensive stone? Yes, you do. But this is too low. It doesn't connect to anything outside. If you just look for a minute and maybe consider this one instead. This then starts to bring this stone, this stone, this stone into relation with this wall here and that stone there. And now we're starting to see an area, what we call a moyo, a territorial framework developing for black. So we go back on that. So actually the move that Chris played was over here. White played there. So Chris again has this opportunity to play a strong move somewhere like here, here, or out even to connect all of these stones, maybe here, and the stone here is on G19, is really kind of nonsensical. If you can, certainly at this stage of the game, avoiding on playing on line 1. Why is that? Well, if we just take a blank bit of the board, if I play a stone on line 1, it's got 3 liberties. Oops, not there. 3 liberties. If I play a stone, let's get rid of that one. If I play a stone in the corner, it's got 2 liberties. Like that. Get rid of those. And if I play a stone in the centre, like here, it's got 4. This is really obvious stuff. We've been through this before. So actually, you've got 25% more liberties out in the centre of the board than you have on the edge, and you've got 50% more liberties out on the centre of the board than you have in the corner. In fact, playing in the corner, under most circumstances, doesn't make any sense. And the stone that you just played in this game, Chris, just try and eliminate this from your vocabulary. It just doesn't work. It's got 3 liberties, it's not stopping anything, and indeed white responds by just jumping in. Here you may have to just give some stones up. You may have to give some stones up. You crawled along, white went back. I would have expected this kind of blocking move from black here, just to make sure that this white stone can't escape. White's got this territory, you've got all this territory, but in the game you played this one. Again, wasn't bad, but this white stone still has potential. It could run out, or either run out this way or push in this way and start to separate. It's a tough fight. So you played there. What did white do? White again kind of defended against something that didn't need defending. You defended here, which again I can't say was wrong, but I'd have liked to have seen that stone more like here, developing this corner, or here, developing the underside here in a nice way. And don't forget, white is still poking out into your territory here. This white group is all alive, and so somewhere like here, this is what I mean about stepping back and containing this invasion. White can get into your territory and reduce it quite dramatically with some moves around there. So lots of options. White played a nonsensical move, you played here, and then I believe white resigned. that was the end of the game. There's some interesting points there, but I think the takeaways, real takeaways for all of you guys, is make sure that your stones have a base, that they're not solitary and on their own, and try and keep your stones connected. Third thing, don't attack too close to strength. If your opponent's got a thick wall, don't start cozying up against it. You will get smashed and eaten against that wall. Step back, build a position, take the points. Okay, that'll do for now. I'm not sure how long that was, but thanks for the game, Chris. I hope you post the live video that you got on it, because it was your comments were fun and entertaining. That's my view. I'll see you guys soon. Thanks for watching. Bye.